Today, homeless people around the world have this technology. We are becoming more intelligent. There's something called the Flynn effect, which Steven Pinker, who's speaking next, writes about in his book as well. The Flynn effect says that IQ is rising at 3 to 4% a decade, and it's been going on for many decades. It says that the average person today is more intelligent than 98% of the people in the world 100 years ago. Think about that. We are rapidly becoming, it says that we have a far greater ability to comprehend and assimilate complex information than ever before. You can't fool the people anymore, okay? Somebody asked me, does that mean we're all getting smarter? I said, no, it means your kids are smarter than you are. Okay, and that's happening every generation. We're also better educated. A century ago, only 9% of Americans completed high school. Today, 40+% go to college. In countries like South Korea, it is 75%. The access to education, higher education, is an extraordinary shift, and the impact is greatest on women. Today, about 60% of college students in this country are women, 70% at the master's level. It used to be about 20%. And the women are getting far higher grades. What that means societally is that every white-collar profession will be dominated by women in years to come. Legal profession, medical profession, education already, public service, and business. 70% of new businesses are being started by women. The only area lagging behind is large corporations. They too will catch up. We talk about a fundamental shift, the feminization of the culture, or more accurately, the rise of feminine values in society. All of society has been run purely on masculine values for millennia. Now we're starting to see the rise of feminine values as becoming, in fact, the lead set of values for many institutions in society, and it's about time. And finally, we're becoming more conscious. Now, what does that mean? It means we're mindful and awake. We see the whole reality. We understand all of the consequences of our actions, not just the ones we are narrowly focused on. We have a finer sense of right and wrong. 150 years ago, we had slavery not only in this country, but in most countries around the world. In fact, we've had it forever. On this planet, it was seen as a normal condition. Most people, including slaves, saw nothing wrong with that. And today, we can't imagine that. 100 years ago, hardly any women on this planet had the right to vote. 75 years ago, we had colonialism. 50 years ago, we had segregation. 30 years ago, we had child labor and all kinds of environmental degradation. 20 years ago, we had apartheid, etc. That list goes on and on. There are things we're doing today we will look back on and say, wow, how did we tolerate that when it is so obviously wrong? So this is a journey that will continue, rejecting violence. You're going to hear from Steven Pinker next. Extraordinary numbers that most people don't realize. We're living in the most peaceful time in human history. And we're learning to live in harmony with nature. So these are all the changes that are happening. And when so much is changing in such a short period of time, how can we continue business as usual? As Lincoln said, the dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. Our challenges are new, therefore we must think afresh. And nowhere is this more evident than in the world of business. We really need to rethink everything that we do and all of our assumptions about business. So what will it take in the future? Well, first of all, companies will have to ensure that all of those trends I just talked about work in their favor. The fact that people are smarter, the fact that they know everything that's happening, the fact that they can communicate instantaneously, the fact that they're hungry for meaning and purpose, the fact that they're more about caring and nurturing and compassion, right? And the fact that they're more conscious. All of that should be a plus for your business. And by the way, for most businesses, it is not. A smarter customer is not always good for most businesses, right? You can't get away with that anymore. And businesses themselves, as these virtual beings that we've given them in the eyes of the law, they have to be more conscious themselves. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. Whole Foods Market, most of you are probably quite familiar with. It's a good example of a company that exemplifies many of these ideas. When the founders started this company, they said, can you build a business on love and not fear? Kind of a crazy idea in 1978. But they said, most businesses, people hate going to work.